Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, it's Sanjo Brazil. Understand the Kings aren't trading for Giannis. Probably not.
Probably
it's
not.
Just a thought experiment, a thought exercise.
Yeah.
We're just we're just yapping.
Yeah, we might as well talk about it.
Professional yappers.
We have fun over here.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility that entire Bucks team is blown up. Like whatever they can do to blow it up. I don't know. Like, I'm definitely calling on Bobby Portis. Outside of that, I don't know.
Okay, let's do this. I have a list. Let's start with the Grizzlies, who were the first team eliminated. They were swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in 4 games. Not even a gentleman's sweep.
Nope.
Just a double birds all the way sweep. So, given how Jake LaRavia looked with the Kings, I would take almost anybody that Memphis will trade.
Okay.
I mean that pretty genuinely. I'm out on Triple J. Ja Morant is in a different bucket.
Okay, so
but any of their anyone from the Grizzlies, John Conchar, I'm in. I'll take him.
Oh, I love John Conchar.
Sure, Santi Aldama. They want to trade Santi Aldama. Yeah, let's go. Go get Santi Aldama.
Oh yeah, Santi Aldama could be a game changer for the Kings.
He's probably a guy they would want to try and build around. But I will take anyone and everyone the Grizzlies want to trade.
No, I totally agree. I mean, Santi Aldama is the guy that I would probably circle and say, hey, is there a way to get him? 6'11" power forward, can really shoot the ball. And I think, again, he would be a perfect fit type player alongside Domas. He doesn't block shots, so that's going to be a problem. And I would say the same thing, too. Like, neither one of us are huge fans of Jaren Jackson Jr., but I think I would take Jaren Jackson Jr., the prototype player, to go alongside of Domantas Sabonis. We're talking about Joe's got 2 thumbs up. No, we're talking about a 6'10" defensive-minded dude who can shoot the 3, and he doesn't rebound at all, but that's okay. You have the best rebounder in the league. If your front line was Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and Jaren Jackson Jr., you're winning 50+.
Great. And do you have to watch Jaren Jackson every night?
No, that's true.
Joe, why you went thumbs up on Jaren Jackson? Why?
I think he said everything perfectly. I think.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Of course.
Keep going.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, he might not be crazy rebounder, but we need the size. I mean, that is at the minimum, at the bare level. Like, we need the size. And I think he has potential to be a great defender. And we have a guy like Sabonis rebounding already. I'm in on him. I've always thought he's young. I think he's a great player. Truly.
Right.
He won the Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, and, again, he averaged, it's crazy. He averaged 2.3 blocks, 3 blocks, and then the last 2 seasons, 1.6 and 1.5. So his block totals have trailed off dramatically. But that's the type of player that, again, you look at when we talk about like Jabari Smith Jr., I would love to get Jabari Smith Jr. from the Houston Rockets because I think Jabari Smith Jr. is the perfect type of player to put alongside Domas. It's just the right style of player. We're talking about shot blocking. We're talking about some rebounding. We're talking about floor spacing. And is he a perfect player? Absolutely not. But you could see a player growing into like a really, really strong role with the Kings. And the Kings just don't have that type of player. And what they've tried to do is make Keegan Murray that type of player. I'd much rather have a 6'11" version that can block shots, 6'10", 6'11", and slide Keegan Murray over to the 3. And that is how you protect Domantas Sabonis. And it's how you support Zach LaVine.
If you can get him to stop taking 5 threes a game, I think we're cooking.
Yeah, but it doesn't work with their team for him to take that many threes. If Domas is standing,
he shoots every 3 like it's a full court heave.
Oh no, I agree. But he hit 37.5% of them. Like, I get what you're saying, but I'm going to say, again, he would look different with Domantas Sabonis next to him. And maybe it's a whole, what is it? Miles Turner. Maybe it looks the same as Domas and Miles Turner, but I don't think so. I mean, it's possible. But that's still, it's the type of player that you want to put alongside Domas.
I think the reason that argument lands for me is A, I think you're right. And B, if he's available.
Mhm.
Because Memphis might be going, no, this guy's 20, what is he, 26, 25,
26? Yeah.
He's 26 next September, so he's entering his age 26 season. They might go, this guy's just entering his prime. We believe all the things that you just said, and we want to build around him. We're going to try and move Ja and restart this rebuild around a Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson duo and try and get a third guy. Maybe that's what they do. But
yeah.
If they do make him available, because you've said for however long we've been doing this show, you need a shot blocker, who the ideal next to Domas, rim protector who can space the floor offensively. There are not that many dudes in the league who do that, and Jaren Jackson's one of them.
He's probably the best at it.
I think you're probably right. As biased as I am against him as a player, just because I find him to be an abysmal watch from the team fit perspective, I think you're probably right.
Well, that and
but I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to have a good time with it.
The other thing is Jaren Jackson Jr. is due a huge extension this summer, but he's not extended yet. And so his contract, his outgoing contract is $23.4 million for next season. That's nothing.
That's about tomorrow.
Again, that's DeMar DeRozan and 3 first-round picks. And maybe that's something that they listen. It depends on what Memphis is doing. If they want to tear down or they want to build around Desmond Bane and him. I don't know.
Keep in mind, we're having a summer conversation in April right now, end of April right now, just because these teams are out. We'll have to very much see, because Memphis might come out and go, nope, we're committed to this.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We want to build around these 3 players, him, Desmond Bane, and Ja Morant, and move on from there.
Yeah, because they had all the tumult with their coach and stuff. Maybe they talked themselves into it. Ja Morant's the interesting one for me.
Okay.
Because I see the vision. I am fully aware of how freaking awesome Ja Morant is. But I think what you would have to pay to get him, I think you're probably starting a little bit from maybe square 2, not square 1. And I don't know that he's reliable enough and that level of player to go, we're going to mortgage our entire future to make sure that we're building around this guy. Giannis, sure. Ja Morant, I don't know that he falls in that bucket for me. Okay,
so here's the argument I would make in favor of Ja Morant. When you traded De'Aaron Fox, he was the best player on your roster. De'Aaron Fox would still be the best player on your roster without any question, I don't think, at this point.
You're probably right.
Ja Morant would be the best player on your roster. And if you can get Ja Morant without, including a Domas, without including a Keegan, without including maybe even, again, this would be probably the worst defensive backcourt in the history of the world. But if you put Ja Morant and Zach LaVine next to each other, at least you're going to get 85 points a night out of your backcourt.
Yeah.
And then, again, you got Malik Monk coming off the bench. Maybe in that situation, I mean, you're going to score 45 plus, you're going to score roughly 60, 65 points a night off your bench. I mean, in your backcourt. That's pretty phenomenal.
It's probably a lot of pick and roll too with Domas, because that's what he wants to do. Ja wants to get in those pick and roll actions. That's part of why they fired Taylor Jenkins, is they went away from that. It goes to what Scott Perry talked about and was asked about at his press conference. He on his podcast, Hoops Genius, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Hoop Genius said Zach LaVine's an effective scorer, not a winning player, needs to be a third option. If you're bringing in Ja Morant, he's now the second option at least. Like that's at least one guy who's going to be the first. LaVine might be a more efficient scorer, but Ja Morant is the number 1 dude on that version of the Kings.
Well, he's the number 1 dude, and the second guy to me would still be Domas. Domas he's not the number 2 scoring option, he's the number 2 option. And so he's going to run the offense. And between him and Ja, they would run the offense, and it would make Zach LaVine what I think is the perfect role for Zach.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you there. Then you're not good enough.
If that's
Domas
your team,
just showed you that.
Well,
you're not good enough if that's your second option. Crunch time. Ja Morant's giving it to Domas.
with that specific team, you're not good enough. With I don't know, like this year's version of the Kings, you weren't good enough with Domas.
I don't think he can be a second option.
Well, I'm
He
not
might have the
saying
ball in
second
his hand.
scoring option. I'm saying the second option on offense where you're running the ball through him.
Yeah,
That doesn't
fine.
mean he's a second scoring option.
Okay,
the number
that's what
2
I meant.
scoring option would still be Zach LaVine.
Yes, which is the ideal.
Yeah, like and figuring out a way to create to trade for Ja Morant without giving up a Zach LaVine player, it would be difficult. Like there is ways to do it, but it would be complicated.
It would also, here's the other thing, because you said something important there. That version of the Kings, I think if you're acquiring Ja Morant, you're getting like you said, you have a new best player, but you're still woefully short on, there would have to be additional moves there. Just acquiring Ja Morant isn't the move. There would still be a length and athleticism problem.
Well, of course. And I mean, just to be honest, Memphis has not been able to disguise Ja Morant's like issues on the defensive end, even though they had a guy who won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And they've got a guy named Brandon Clark who comes off the bench and is excellent at playing defense and giving effort.
Desmond Bane was a good defender before he hurt his back.
Yeah, John Conchar just doesn't stop playing. You know, they put Zach Edey in the middle like a gigantic human being.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say the wheels fell off their bus. It was already falling off before they fired Taylor Jenkins. But that team still would have won a bunch of games with Taylor Jenkins if they didn't fire Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would have been fine.
Yeah, I think that they would have been fine too. The fact that they won 48, they probably in the last 9 games probably could have squeaked out 1 or 2 more wins with Taylor Jenkins still there. But we'll never know.
John Conchar's 29.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think I'm out now.
Oh no way.
I think I'm out on John Conchar now.
He just does all the little things. I
know that's why when I made the joke at the top, like I want to take it back. I said I would take anyone from the Grizzlies. I don't want Marvin Bagley. I don't want Marvin Bagley back.
No, and he's a free agent anyway, so we don't count him as part of that team. But and Luke Kennard, I don't want Luke Kennard either. But yeah, Jay Huff, Santi Aldama, man, that's.
I didn't realize Santi Aldama is only 24.
Well, that and he's about to get his rookie scale. They have a qualifying offer at less than $6 million for this year.
What do you think it would take to get Yuki Kawamura?
A phone call.
Couple first.
Yeah. Hey, I'd take Scottie Pippen Jr. too. Scottie
Pippen Jr. would start at point guard for the Kings. Scottie Pippen Jr. rules, dude.
But that's not a good thing. I don't think if Scottie Pippen Jr. is a starting point guard, I don't think that's a good place to.
Why not?
Begin.
He's only 24.
Yeah, I mean,
You're 24 at the start of next season. Good defender, very Tyus Jonesy to me.
Okay.
I'm
just
right.
not buying it.
Want him starting.
I'm just not buying it as buying him as a starting NBA point guard, and that's not trying to be disrespectful. Again, he offensively he's great.
A dog, dude.
48% from the field. 39.7
he would be a perfect backup point guard.
Yeah, and backup point guard.
I think that's 100% what he is. Yeah, I would almost go just to put it. I would almost go get anybody on the Grizzlies. Anybody the Grizzlies want to make available, like yeah, because I think they're going to give you different roles, obviously, but similar to what Jake LaRavia did, just from an effort and play style standpoint.
Yeah, which
matters a lot. The Bucks we've already talked about. I don't know if there's anybody else on the Bucks that I would want. Bobby Portis
is
I think the one. Maybe somebody like Andre Jackson Jr. if they're gonna trade him for peanuts and you want to just get that athleticism on your bench and see what happens.
Yeah, he's a crazy athlete.
He's the guy. That's the guy. I got confused. I confused him with a different player earlier this year. Andre Jackson Jr. is the guy who jumped so high in that blowout Kings win over the Bucks a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
and he had like his waist at the rim, and he got and Kevin Huerter like reacted on the bench.
Yep,
and was like, "Oh my god, that was sick." And De'Aaron was like, "You can't do that." And then after the game, Kevin was like, "Well, he's from upstate." So that's a player that if, like I said, he's available for peanuts. But I don't think there's anybody else on the Bucks I care to have on the Kings.
Well, the one other guy is if you're going to make a move where you use Zach LaVine to go get a point guard, which, again, I don't know if that will happen or not, or if that can even happen. I would take Gary Trent as a starting level shooting guard because Gary Trent can Gary Trent can shoot the ball.
Final 2 possessions last night notwithstanding.
No, but before that, he was excellent.
Oh, he was cash.
The only reason they're in their game was because he just caught fire.
He's the only reason they were in that game. He's the only reason they won another game in that series.
And he's only 26. He just turned 26.
Gary Trent Jr. is 26?
26.
You're lying to me. Gary Trent Jr. is 37.
No,
Gary Trent Jr. has been in the league since 2006.
He made a whole bunch of money, and now he's on, like, minimum deals. Like, very, very weird his
free agency was weird. Like, he's a really good contributing player, and Milwaukee got him for nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And then they really didn't even use him that much during the season. So,
Gary Trent being 26 has me shook.
I'm looking at a picture right now, and I'm shook.
If you'd been like, hey, how long has Gary Trent been in the league? I'd be like, 13 years. Was he in year 12, maybe?
The one other guy
26
I would consider is Taurean Prince, because I just think, he's a guy that the Kings just don't have that guy.
I'm right there. The reason I shied away from Taurean Prince when I was looking down their roster is I'm down if Taurean Prince is like your 9th or 10th guy.
Yeah.
You can't be in a spot where Taurean Prince is the second guy off the bench for you on a nightly basis anyway.
Yeah, no, 3rd, 4th guy off the bench. Yeah.
Then who's the other team? Orlando. I think Orlando might be a spot for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I just don't like anyone.
That's the problem.
Other than their top 3 guys.
Anybody you want on the Magic, they're not giving up. Because it's Franz Wagner, it's Paolo Banchero, it's Jalen Suggs.
Yeah, and I know a whole bunch of people out there are going to keep saying Jonathan Isaac's name, and, just tell me why. I'm still wondering. This year, he played 71 games, averaged 15.4 minutes per game.
And I don't think that was a this year thing. I think that's how he's just going to have to be effective. And it's really, really hard to be an effective NBA player on 15 minutes a night.
Yeah.
It's hard to contribute that much. So like I said, if they're going to give him away, okay. But I don't think they're interested in doing that.
No. And I'm not interested in KCP. I think you have a younger version of that in Keon Ellis.
Yeah.
If there's any way they would trade Franz Wagner, sure. They're not giving up Wagner. They're not giving up Banchero. So, end of discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. But that's a team I could see. Maybe it's in a 3-way deal. That's a team I could see if DeMar DeRozan asks out, going, because you pair him with Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner. You just have a guy who creates in the half court and can score.
The other
which
guy,
is a little bit their problem in their backcourt.
The other team that's like that got bounced as well is the Miami Heat. I could definitely see DeMar DeRozan going to the Heat.
Forgot to write down the Heat.
Again, whether you can get a player out of the Heat that makes any sense at all to the Kings, I don't know. Because if I'm the Kings, I'm not looking at Wiggins. But
why not? Honest to God, if Andrew Wiggins wasn't so expensive and you could justify having him be your, again, on a Kings team that desperately needs length and athleticism, if you could justify having him as your 8th guy, 7th or 8th guy.
Yeah, but he'd have to be a starter for you.
No, right. And that's what I'm saying. Well, he would have to be because of his contract.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying. If you're acquiring Andrew Wiggins now, all of a sudden he's starting.
Yeah, and he's at $28 million next year and $30 million the year after.
Yeah, so you can't justify having him come off the bench, which is probably in an ideal world where he is at this point. But teams are going to keep betting on him.
Yeah,
as a starter, and he did it for the 2022 postseason. Boy, looked awesome.
Yep,
and has not looked that way since. So I'm with you. Contractually, that is prohibitive. So, anyways. Shout out to the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. Love Florida basketball. Anyways, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's Joe Brazil. We are live and local here at the Complex. I'm trying out. We did a brainstorming session where we tried to name our building.
How about the Ridge? Here on the Ridge.
Here on the Ridge. We're okay.